हरे कृष्ण। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। We'll continue on our discussion. Just few points on anger, which we are doing. Sorry, fear. I'll just cover a few things. Actually, many things are there. So there was a question that why Krishna is arranging. So there was a question yesterday that Krishna is arranging difficulties for devotees, not our karma. So it is very difficult to accept. Okay, uh, if we say it is according to our karma, it is easy. Sometimes it's difficult to accept the plan of Krishna. If we realize that it is happening due to our karma, then it is easy. But why Krishna has to send these things? It's very difficult to digest. So here, uh, so what we have to understand, Lord is not actually giving these difficulties to punish us. It is actually to rectify our mentality. When it comes to karma, even karma also, the punishment from karma, what the people get, is not the activity that is punished. It is actually the mentality to rectify the mentality. So that is the important understanding we should have. So when Krishna is sending something, he don't want is it looks like punishment, but more important is he want to rectify our mentality. So he want us to improve in that direction because we have uh, our own conditionings which we don't want to change. This is the problem. So we discussed this previously also, but again I will just explain this important point that how we don't want to come out of certain situations. We want to continue in the same situations because there is a fear. So this is what is the problem. So fear manifests in various ways, and we have discussed this. But again, just I will make one more point. Like when it comes to Arjuna, what happens is uh, it is he has justification. So when we come to Krishna consciousness, they're very enthusiastic. Yes, yes, I will do it. I can do it. But what happens is after coming, we feel yeah, uh, actually everything is normal only. Why so much? Why why we need to do so much? We can remain. Why it should be taken so seriously? So then Krishna has to send to wake us up. That is the main thing. So Krishna want to rectify us in certain things. Mind explains, oh, people live and I am also living. So what happens? Arjuna is saying I surrendered, but he didn't want to fight. So similarly for us also, when we come to not for many, not you, but he says, okay, I am surrendering, but I don't want to fight. I will do whatever I want. So that's what Krishna wanted to teach. So they stop at they stop in a halfway. They don't go further. They are stuck up because it is very scary. And they say uh, uh, that it is they cannot be very strong. It's they are reluctant to go ahead because it prevents of doing. There is a fear. Fear paralyzes. Fear of what? Fear of losing the attachments. And the realization of our problems lies in the fact that we are trying to pass ourselves as someone else. So sometimes we give out fear for courage. So people say, I'm very courageous. And they become fanatic. They say, see, I'm doing those so strictly. I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. They're doing so strictly, but it is fanatism. Fanatism is also fear. All fanatic people, they are afraid. So they hide behind this fanatism. They want to look cool. So it is said that the greatest, we discussed this also, the greatest uh, uh, there is no brave warrior in a frightened Jew. That means what? He's so frightened that he is going to fight at any cost because he is spiritual. So it looks like everything is fear, everything is fine, and there are different forms of hypocrisies. So this Krishna want to remove. I will discuss this point today, some more points. So what happens is in this discussion, what we are doing, we yesterday discussed this 9 problems that comes. So these are the obstacles, that 9 obstacles and various obstacles, and what Krishna is trying to help us. So he's telling to attain this samadhi or to attain this highest level, these are the obstacles, even to extrasensory awareness or to realize the knowledge in various ways. Now, there is one way to overcome all these obstacles. Very simple. Krishna is also telling, even Patanjali Muni is telling Yoga Sutras. And practice of one truth. Understanding the goal is one and we need to achieve it. That means just go on. What is Krishna is saying? There are problems and obstacles that we face on the path. All have the same nature. What is that? Laziness, lethargy, fatalism, and it seems submission to fate and all these things. But Krishna is telling in one word, fight Arjuna. This is actually the solution. So the solution is what? We just have to continue. The problem is that people don't want to fight. Another interesting thing is people feel I have no strength. I want to leave everything, quit everything. I do not want to fight my material attachments. Recipe is one that Krishna gives. Uncompromisingly fight. Now this is very important. Krishna explains that a person does not have to fight himself. This is very important. The only thing that is required is to want to fight. And everything is done by Krishna only. So it's not that we have to fight, we should endeavor to fight. And everything Krishna will do because Krishna is the person who can do it. We cannot do on our own. So the story of Barbaric is a very interesting story from Mahabharata. When Barbaric comes, he wanted to join. He's a grandson of Bhima, son of Gatotkacha. He says that I will join the party who is going to lose and I will make them win. That is his mentality. Because so powerful, whomever he wants, he can kill and he can do everything. And Krishna comes to him as a Brahmana and says, oh, I want to see your powers and I want to ask charity. He said, okay. He said, show your power. And no, with one arrow, I can kill all the army. He said, how? Then he releases an arrow and in the tree, every leaf, it pierces every leaf and comes back. And Krishna keeps his feet on a thumb on one leaf and banyan tree. And it pierces all the leaves and comes to Krishna's feet and it's hovering around. And he says, remove that. Krishna removes it, pierces and goes back to the quiver of Barbaric. And Krishna understood that this fellow is very powerful. Even now also the tree is there. So whenever the tree comes, it comes with a hole in memory of that past time that happened, whatever. And the scientist says this tree has some disease. Foolish fellows, they don't know that it is Barbaric's activity. So the point is then Krishna says, okay, I want charity. What? Give your head. And he says, okay, I'll give you. I know you are Krishna. So, but I have one desire. I want to see the war. He said, okay, I'll hang you on the tree. And then he sees at the end of war and Bhima says, actually, I killed all the Kauravas. I did maximum damage. Arjuna says, no, I killed the most powerful warriors. And Yudhishthira says, maybe because of my dharma, I win. So Krishna says, okay, let us check. There is Barbaric. We'll find out from him who exactly is the person. And come to Barbaric. What happened is he became little sober and he became little more mature because his head was cut. He became little humble and sober. Then he could see things as they are. This is the point. Person becomes humble and sober. He can understand things where they are and he can see things as they are. So he sees that actually everything is Krishna only. Both says Sudarshan Chakra was going around and killing people. It's only one person who was fighting on both sides, that is Krishna. So this is actually what Krishna is trying to explain. Krishna says, I'll fight for you, but I will do it from behind the curtains. This is the point. But what Krishna wants us to do is he want to show us that desire. So he says, we must have the desire inside that I want to fight. I want to come out of it. Do not fall into despair and sit down. Do not say it is impossible. Only one thing that is required of us is not to run away, do not obscure anything, do not justify ourselves. I am weak, I cannot do it. Krishna is telling just do this much. You just stand up and endeavor to fight, remaining all I will do. If you want to come out of certain attachments, you want to come certain weakness, I am ready to help you. But you just desire to do it. So honestly, we should say, yes, I'll fight to the best of my ability, and I know Krishna will help me overcome all this. This is what is Krishna expecting from us. And why troubles from Krishna? Rectify our mentality. We are so much attached to certain things, certain prejudice. So Krishna is trying to help us come out of it. So these obstacles are not punishment for the activities we did, for the mentality. Even karma also, it's almost it's same only to rectify the mentality. And when Krishna does, Krishna, when it comes to karma, they want to make a dharmic person. Rectify means make a dharmic person. When Krishna takes in charge, he will rectify us and want to make a pure devotee. So that is the difference. When it comes the karma for outside people, they want to rectify and make him a dharmic person. When karma comes for us, it rectifies, make a pure devotee. So the mentality is actually taken care. The mentality is cured. Otherwise, what happens? There is always a tendency to justify, and we say, okay, this is what I am. What can I do? So this is what is very important understanding we need to have, that why Krishna gives trouble. Krishna gives trouble so that we wake up, our buddhi is awakened. What happens is, when we properly do sadhana and trouble comes, then we start understanding why I am in this trouble. Then I can see, oh, I am so attached to my this way of doing. So let me come out of it. I have certain way of attachments. I may be attached to my name and fame. I may be attached to my position. I may be attached to my family, or I may be selfish, or I may be not so much going and giving others Krishna consciousness. I am just to myself. So Krishna makes us come out of certain situations, and he want to rectify us. So that's why Krishna is working very hard with devotees. So this is an understanding, and I have some more few things I want to discuss about the Prabhupada purports also, because there is so much to understand. So here there is a question that in the previous, that if yeah that how come if I just point out person who made a mistake, I am also equally sinful as the perpetrator. So this is a question. So the research is not yet complete, so you'll get the answer in further classes. So this is the question. Okay. One who is in the form of bull, you know the truth of religion, and you are speaking according to the principles that the destination is intended for. The perpetrator of irreligious act is also intended for one who identifies the perpetrator. So if you, what is the destination of this fellow who committed sin? Same destination is for the person who identified also. So now how it is, I'll be able to complete the research, and I'll come back to you. I didn't complete the research, but there is answer for it. Of course, Prabhupada gave very nice answer, but there is some more on a psychological level also. There is an answer. If we are always finding faults, we are associating with faults, and then we end up in, because I am associating with that, whatever I associate, I behave like that. So that is one reason. Understood. We'll see further if I get any other more deeper points to understand. Like if we are seeing good in others, we are associating with their good, and we also behave like that. If you are only finding faults, that's why it's Asad Varta Vesha Shatru. Raghunath Goswami is so heavy that actually don't hear negative about others. It's already, it's like it's a prostitute. So now in the previous where Parikshit Maharaj is saying, you are standing on one leg only, which is your truthfulness, and you are somehow or other bobbing alone, but quarrel personifiedly flourishing by deceit is also trying to destroy that one leg. So this is what Parikshit is saying. Prabhupada write, the principles of religion do not stand on some dogma or man-made formulas, but they stand on four primary regulative observance, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. The mass of people must be taught to practice these principles from childhood. So now Prabhupada explain. Austerity means to accept voluntarily things which may not be very comfortable for body but are conducive for spiritual relation. Tapo divyam putrakayana sattam shuddhe dasmat brahma sokyam tananta. Kashtan kaman arhate vidbhujan. Listening, don't do kashta. Rishabdev is telling, don't do kashta. Don't work hard, because the pleasure which you are going to get is also enjoyed by the hogs. They also enjoy. You can do tapasya. Both looks little tough only. Tapasya is also tough. Kashta is also tough. The difference is kashta is for sense gratification. Tapasya is for spiritual advance. In both you have to make endeavor. The laziness don't work only. Laziness is tamoguna. We have to come out of tamoguna. We have to work either in spiritual direction or material direction. But work hard is important. That's the reason if somebody has good ego, he will materially work very hard. And when it comes to spirituality, he will make equally very fast progress, because he had that ego to work hard, which will help him in spiritual direction also. To have a strong ego and very nice ego is very important. But ego, tamoguna is very bad. they'll become lazy and lazy. They get hurt, but they are very lazy. It won't work like that. People have very strong ego and determined to get it. That is very helpful in making progress. And that is the reason all the sanskaras are given. Sanskara is basically to fortify the ego properly. They said, you are a Brahmana. When a boy is small, 7 years, is given Upanayana Sanskara. So you are a Brahmachari. And no, the ego actually helps him. He says, oh, I am a Brahmachari. If he is waking up late, they'll say, hey, you are a Brahmachari. How can you wake up late? He says, his ego says, oh, I am a Brahmachari. How can I sleep till 6 o'clock? So I should get up by 3 o'clock. Are you are Brahmachari? How can you be unclean? So that ego will help him to be more stable. And that is actually needed. So laziness don't work. You have to work hard either in spirituality or materially. For ego, that's why it is properly sanskaras are given. Because there is no sanskaras, people, their ego is not properly developed only. People are quite lazy, and so many people, and we can see some people are they're active but in wrong direction. So Prabhupada says fasting, for example, fasting twice or 4 times a month is a sort of austerity which may be voluntarily accepted for spiritual relation and not for any other purpose, political or otherwise. So this is about Gandhi, and nowadays people follow it. And very important is we have to nicely eat 14 days, very nice nutritious food, and fast 1 day, at least with fruits. So that what happens, the system, we have to give so much nourishment and give 1 day break, full nourishment, 1 day break, no fast foods, no here and there eating, just give very very healthy food, and it is very good to the system. Fasting which are meant for not for self-relation but for some other purpose are condemned in Bhagavad Gita. Similarly, cleanness is necessary both in mind and the body. Simple bodily cleanliness may help to some extent, but cleanness of mind is necessary, and it is affected by glorifying the Supreme Lord. No one can clean the accumulated mental dust without glorifying the Supreme Lord. This is very important. Only way to clear the mental dust is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Just chanting Hare Krishna. That is actually the formula. This is very simple formula, especially in Kali Yuga. Previous ages there were formulas, but we cannot do it now. That is the problem. Sthane sthita stutigatam tanuvan manobhir yah prayase jito apijito petai loki. Just be there and chant the holy name, which is more practical for Kali Yuga. The godless civilization cannot clean the mind because it has no idea of God, and for the simple reason people under such a civilization cannot have good qualification. However, they may be materially equipped. We have to see things by their resultant action. The resultant action of human civilization, the age of Kali, is dissatisfaction. So everyone is anxious to get peace of mind. So this is what is happening. No God, no peace. This peace of mind was complete in Satyuga because of the existence of the above mentioned attributes of human being. Gradually, these attributes have diminished in the Treta Yuga to 3/4 and Dwapara to 1/2, and then in this age of Kali, 1/4, which is also gradually diminishing on account of prevailing untruthfulness. Pride, whether artificial or real, the resultant action of austerity is spoiled. But too much affection for female association, cleanness is spoiled. By too much addictive to intoxication, mercy is spoiled. And by too much lying propaganda, truthfulness is spoiled. The revival of Bhagavad Dharma can save human civilization from falling prey to evils of all descriptions. So here, uh, truthfulness, we say, what is the truthfulness that is one of the truthfulness that is remaining in Kali Yuga is, if somebody is speaking the truth, there are still people who are ready to accept. That means now we are discussing Bhagavatam, and Prabhupada went and spoke Bhagavatam. Prabhupada is giving Bhagavatam, and there are still people who are accepting this truth. So that is one of the truthfulness that is remaining in Kali Yuga. And he says the burden of earth was certainly diminished by the personality embodied by others as well, when he was present as incarnation. All good was performed because of his auspicious footprints, but only for 36 years. After that, she, chaste one, is as if most unfortunate due to being forsaken by the personality of Godhead, laments her future with tears in her eyes. Now she is being ruled and enjoyed by low-class men who as rulers. At that time there are no low-class men ruling. Parikshit Maharaj is only ruling. This is talking about what is going to happen in future. The Kshatriya, or a man who is qualified to protect the sufferers, is meant to rule the state. Untamed, low-class men or men without ambition to protect the suffering cannot be placed on the seat of an administrator. So the question nobody is asking, that why, what benefit really Mother Earth got? Krishna just did. And by the time Yudhishthir Maharaj was placed, and after that he could rule 36 years, and Parikshit Maharaj also rules 36 years. So it is almost like 72 years only. After that, the whole Yuga is 4,32,000 years. Kali Yuga, and before that, Dwapar Yuga. So Dwapar Yuga, just before Kamsa, it was all good. But after Kamsa in the end, and Kali Yuga. So what exactly benefit Mother Earth got? So nobody's asking. I'll not answer. Unfortunately, in the age of Kali, the lower class men without uh, training occupy the post of rule by strength of popular votes, and instead of protecting the sufferers, such men create a situation quite intolerable for everyone. Such rulers illegally gratify themselves at the cost of all comforts of the citizens, and thus the chaste Mother Earth cries to see the pitiable condition of persons, both men and animals. That is the future of the world in the age of Kali, when irreligiosity prevails most prominently, and in the absence of a suitable king to curb irreligious tendencies, educating the people systematically, the teaching of Srimad Bhagavatam will clear up the hazy atmosphere of corrupt, barbaric, blackmail, etc. Bribery, blackmail, etc. So this is a very nice solution Prabhupada give. Just read Bhagavatam. In your house also, if you have some fights, all the family members sit together and read Bhagavatam, and all these things, hazy atmosphere of all these things will be finished. So simple. Maharaj Parishad, who could fight 1,000 enemies single-handedly, pacified the personality of religious and the earth. Then he took up his sharp sword to kill the personality of Kali, who is cause of all illusion. So it is good. We are parallelly doing Vishnu Chakra Thakur and Prabhupada, but same slokas we are reading. As described below, the personality of Kali is he who deliberately commits all kinds of sinful acts which are forbidden in the revealed scriptures. The age of Kali will certainly be full of all activities of Kali, but this It does not mean that the leaders of society, the executive heads, the learned and the intelligent men, as above all the devotees of the Lord, should sit down quietly and become followers of the reactions of age of the rainy season. Certainly there will be profuse rainfall, but that does not mean that the man should not take means to protect themselves from the rain. It is duty of the executive head of the state and others to take all necessary actions against the activities of Kali or the persons influenced by the age of Kali. And Maharaj Parikshit is the ideal executive head of the state. At once he was ready to kill the personality of Kali with his sharp sword. So this is a very important point. Now this problem is the state executive heads are only the are the what do you say Kalis chelas. They are only personified Kalis. Tomorrow, maybe Monday, we'll discuss the agents of Kali. Very nice topic. This is by Bhakti with Maharaj. One lecture is there, so somebody might have read. Others will discuss the agents of Kali. It is very nice. A small lecture, but very interesting. The administration should not simply pass resolutions for anti-corruption suits, but they must be ready with sharp swords to kill the persons creating corruptions from the angle of vision of recognized Shastras. So this is also applicable to the head of the house. In the house, people they want to practice properly and all, then they also have to follow these things very strictly. The administrator cannot prevent corrupt activities by allowing wine shops at the same time making propaganda for people to stop drinking. They must at once close all the shops selling intoxicating drugs and wine and force punishments, even by death, for those who indulge in the habits of intoxication of all description. That is a way of stopping the activities of Kali as exhibited herein by Maharaj Parikshit, the Maharata. So actually, they tried also government in the state of previously it was Andhra. They tried to stop, but what happened is so much of mafia they started growing because they illegally started importing. Government thought it's too risky. You are unnecessarily increasing. Even in America also it happened for drugs and all. Mexico and they so many mafia gangs started coming out because government stopped in this and they continued also. Now also they have these gangsters and all. So because it is not possible, people themselves have very lower natures and how government makes so much money in this excise duties because of killing this alcohol mine. Government themselves don't want to stop. And all these labor people, morning they have to work, they have to take alcohol, and then they go for work. So it's become so much big a problem in the society. It's irreversible damage. And all the movies, if in the South or any Hollywood or Bollywood or anywhere, they show so much intoxication, so much of smoking, and the children and the youth when they see, they feel this is cool, this is normal. And when some of the devotees they were telling Prabhuji, we look for marriage profiles for some girls, so they look in their caste, they try to look in their caste if they, because parents they don't want a intercaste and because they don't get devotees from their caste, they look. So in that girls they write, if your husband, they say they want social drinker, want their husband to drink, but he should be a social drinker. That means he should drink in parties and all. So that means they also they, they also drink themselves and they want their husband. This is the problem. And it is they feel it is normal. But Prabhupada is telling they should be uh, uh, they must be at once closed all shops selling intoxication, drugs and wine and force punishment even to death. Prabhupada is so, and here everybody is doing. When the personality of Kali understood that the king was willing to kill him, he at once abandoned the dress of a king and under pressure of fear completely surrendered to him, bowing his head. The royal dress of the personality of Kali is artificial. The royal dress of is suitable for a king or a kshatriya, but when a lower class man artificially dress himself as a king, his real identity is disclosed by challenge of a bona fide kshatriya like Maharaj Parikshit. A real kshatriya never surrenders. He accepts the challenge of his rival kshatriya and he fights either to die or win. Surrender is unknown to a real kshatriya. In the age of Kali, there are so many pretenders dressing and posing as administrators or executors, but the real identity disclosed when they are challenged by real kshatriyas. Therefore, when the artificial dress personality of Kali saw that He fight Maharaj Parikshit was beyond his ability. That to fight Maharaj Parikshit was beyond his ability. He bowed down his head like a subordinate and gave up his royalties. Maharaj Parikshit, who was qualified to accept surrendered and whose glories are worth of being sung in history, did not kill the poor surrendered and fallen Kali, but smiled compassionately, for he was kind to the poor. So this we have discussed also. Yeah, in Gujarat also they have liquor ban, but even a small town has access. Yeah, every village will have access because people have the tendencies. That is the problem. So here Prabhupada is writing, even an ordinary Kshatriya does not kill a surrendered person. What to speak of Maharaj Parikshit, who was by nature compassionate and kind to the poor. He was smiling because the artificially dressed king had disclosed his identity as a lower classman, and he was thinking how ironic it was that although no one had ever been saved from a sharp sword when he desired to kill, the poor lower class Kali was spared by his timely surrender. Maharaj Parikshit's glory and kindness are therefore sung in history. He was a kind and compassionate emperor, fully worthy of accepting surrender even from his enemy. Thus, the personality of Kali was saved by the will of providence. Actually, this is very important for a Kshatriya. Na? So, it's so kind because for a Kshatriya to forgive such mischievous people is not so easy. But Parikshit Maharaj could do it because he's so kind, so glorious king he is. And Parikshit Maharaj says, we have inheard the fame of Arjuna. Therefore, since you have surrendered yourself with folded hands, you need not fear your life, but you cannot remain in my kingdom, for you are the friend of religion. Prabhupada is writing, the personality of Kali, who is friend of all kinds of religiosity, may be executed if he surrenders. May be excused if he surrenders, but in all circumstances, he cannot be allowed to live in this, live as a citizens in any part of the welfare state. The Pandavas were interested representatives of the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, who practically brought into being the battle of Kurukshetra, but not for any personal interest. He wanted an ideal king like Maharaj Yudhishthir and his descendant like Maharaj Parikshit to rule the world. And therefore, responsible king like Maharaj Parikshit could not allow the friend of irreligiosity to flourish in his kingdom at the cost of good fame of the Pandavas. That is the way of wiping out corruption in the state and not otherwise. The friends of irreligiosity should be banished from the state, and that will save the state from corruption. No, people will banish the king only if he banishes corruption. They want corrupted people. And it is actually research. People don't mind if the person is corrupt. They only are interested if I am getting my things or not, and they will vote for it. And Parikshit Maharaj says, if the personality of religion is allowed to act as a man, god, or an executive head, certainly irreligious principles, like greed, falsehood, robbery, incivility, treachery, misfortune, cheating, quarrel, and vanity will abound. So these all will increase. So Prabhupada writes, the principle of religion, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy, truthfulness, as we have already discussed, may be followed by the followers of any path. There is no need to turn from Hindu to Mohammedan or from Mohammedan to Christian or to some other faith and thus become a renegated and not follow the principles of religion. The Bhagavad religion are just followers of the following the principles of religion. Principles of religion are not the dogma or regulative principles of certain faith. Very important. The principles of religion are not the dogma or regulative principles of certain faith. Such regulative principles may be different in terms of time and place uh, in terms of time and place concerned. One has to see whether the aim of religion have been achieved. Sticking to the dogma and formulas without attaining the real principle is not good. Secular state may be impartial to any particular type of faith, but the state cannot be indifferent to the principles of religion as mentioned above. But in the age of Kali, the executive heads of the state will be indifferent to such religious principles, and therefore, under their uh, patronage, the opponents of religious principles such as greed, falsehood, cheating, and uh, pilfery will naturally follow. So there will be no meaning to propaganda trying to stop corruption in the state. Very nice point. So we'll just read one last one. Therefore, a friend of religion, you do not deserve to remain in a place. Where I am not explaining purport because they are very simple to understand. So I'm not adding. I wanted to complete syllabus. If I feel very important, then only we'll discuss. A friend of religion, you do not deserve remain in a place where experts perform sacrifices according to truth and religious principles for the satisfaction of Supreme Personality of God. Yajneshwara, the Supreme Personality of God, is a beneficiary of all kinds of sacrificial ceremonies. The sacrificial ceremonies are prescribed differently in scriptures for different ages. In other words, sacrifice means to accept the supremacy of Lord and thereby perform acts by which the Lord may be satisfied in all respects. The atheists do not believe in the existence of God and so they do not perform any sacrifice for the satisfaction of Lord. Any place or country where the supremacy of the Lord is accepted and the sacrifice is performed is called Brahmavarta. Brahmavarta. There are different countries in different parts of the world. Each and every country may have different types of sacrifice to please the Supreme Lord, but the central point is pleasing Him. It is ascertained in Bhagavatam and it is truthfulness. Yes, such a nice definition of truthfulness. What is truthfulness? To perform sacrifice to please the Supreme Lord. So that is actually truthfulness. So if any country, any place people are still doing, in the house also we can be truthful by every doing Sankirtanagya, sacrifice. The basic principle of religion is truthfulness, and the ultimate goal of all religion is to satisfy the Lord. Still, there are people who are pleasing the Supreme Lord. That's why in Kali Yuga, still truthfulness is there. The basic principle of uh, this age of Kali, the greatest common formula of sacrifice, Sankirtanagya. This is the opinion of the experts who know how to propagate the process of yajna. Lord Chaitanya preached this method of yajna, and it is understood from this verse that the sacrifice mentioned of Sankirtan yajna may be performed anywhere and everywhere in order to drive away the personality of Kali and save human society from falling prey to the influence of the age. So we do Harinam Sankirtan Rath Yatras, which will save people. Yeah, this is small. We'll just complete this also. We still have time. In all sacrificial ceremonies, although sometimes a demigod is worshipped, the Supreme Lord, personality of God is worshipped because he is the super soul of everyone and exists both inside and outside like the fire. Thus, it is he only who awards all welfare to the worshippers. Okay, what we will do on Monday, I'll explain about sacrifices. This is the important concept of third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So very, very important that we all understand what exactly Krishna is telling about sacrifices. Very simple concept, but we should be very thorough about it. Even though it is sometimes seen that the demigods like Indra and Chandra are worshipped and offered sacrificial awards, the reward of all the sacrifice are awarded to the worshipper by the Supreme Lord. It is the Lord only who can offer all welfare to the worshippers. The demigods, although worshipped, cannot do anything without the sanction of the Lord, because the Lord is the super soul of everyone, both moving and non-moving. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord himself confirmed this in the following shloka. Epyanya devata bhaktya janti shraddhayanvita tepi mameva konte janti avidipurvakam. Those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way. The fact is that the Supreme Lord is one without a second. There is no God other than the Lord himself. Thus, the Supreme Lord is eternally transcendental to the material creation. But there are many who worship the demigods like the sun, the moon, and Indra, who are only material representatives of Supreme Lord. These demigods are indirect qualitative representatives of the Supreme Lord. A learned scholar or devotee, however, knows who is who. Therefore, he directly worships the Supreme Lord. He is not diverted by the material qualitative representation. Those who are not so learned worship such qualitative matter represented, but their worship is unceremonious because it is irregular. So we have few verses. Monday we will not have Prabhupada purport reading. We'll have on Tuesday. So, and maybe Tuesday will complete the remaining. So thank you all very much. Any questions, comment, discussions? Okay. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.